think you should.
Welcome to this week's Whoscussion. We are hosts from Whānau, ThatRandomGuy, and Harriet Skelly. Harriet Skelly, will get you to say hello.
Hello!
Yes. We're joined by Brian's. Brian, say hello to YouTube land.
Got it, guys.
And we'll be finishing it off with the late Crow. Say hello.
Hi there.
With part 8, we're going to be doing Thin Ice. The story that's the most recent story as of recording of Doctor Who, and then we'll be finishing part A off with the Keeper of Traken. We'll be going into part B. We'll be doing the Sporting Life, which will actually come after Time Works. So, I'm just going to do a quick rundown of Thin Ice. So, Thin Ice takes us to the Great Ice Fair of 1814. The 1st and 7th Doctors also attended this fair, which is actually noted in this story. The 12th Doctor actually solidifies that 1 and 7 have been here, as he noted that he's been here a couple of times. Which is funny because that event takes place over 4 days. So that means that like one day 7 was there, one day 1 was there, and then the last day 12 was there.
So there's a bunch of frost fairs. It's not just it wasn't just one.
No. They all attended this frost fair.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they all attended the frost fair of 1814, which was the last frost fair. Because they made some changes to some bridges in London, and that actually stopped the freezing of the Thames from happening. So, I mean, that's pretty good engineering for the 19th century, but, you know, we're going into the Industrial Revolution then. Anyway, the Doctor and Bill notice some lights underneath the ice of the Thames. They get caught up in some, I suppose, pickpockets, pickpocket children, a bit like Oliver Twist from Charles Dickens. They get caught up in this, and through that they find out there's an evil businessman who's holding on to a giant, I assume prehistoric fish. It's never really solidified, which I'm happy about. I like ambiguity. And the Doctor ends up facing off against essentially a very rich statesman. And that's it. It's pretty much a pure historical. And that's pretty much it. With that out of the way, I'm going to get Brian's actually to... What were your thoughts on the story, Brian's?
I quite enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few things that were a bit confusing. The motivation of the corrupt / evil factory owner kind of seemed a bit over the top. And I think they could have possibly even have tied that giant prehistoric creature with something more aligned with the space whale. I got the vibe at the very beginning that was the space whale, and it had kind of like been stuck on Earth, like tying back to Britain, how it was like, you know, going to later on carry them in the giant space colonization movement at the end of the world, which was what the previous episode was about.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to tie it in there, but
I'm not from London, but I'm pretty sure the Thames is not big enough to contain the space whale.
It could have been a baby one. I felt like they could have somehow tied that in there. It had like what 2,500 odd years to grow, so
That's true.
but no. Overall, I found it was pretty good. I liked the scene where Bill is distraught at the lack of humanity that the Doctor showed towards the death of that child. But I felt like she got over it far too quickly. She was just like, holy shit, how many people have you actually killed? Do you even remember how many people you've killed or seen people die? And he's like, lol, screw you. And she's just like, oh, okay, well, he's telling a story to some kids now. I'm just going to get over it. And yeah, it was a pretty good episode overall.
Right. Okay. The Let Crow.
Right. Yeah. I also enjoyed it. Maybe I enjoyed it a lot more than I know I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all went into this one with quite low expectations initially.
Very much so. Very much so.
So we were all I assume we were all pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I do like the fact it's a pure historical, and I agree with what you said. I like the ambiguity with the prehistoric fish thing. It's kind of nice. It's not important to know exactly what it is, so why focus on it? In counter to what Brian said, I kind of like the fact that Bill got over it pretty quickly.
It is actually established within dialogue why she gets over it so quickly. The Doctor and her actually talk about it, and it is brought up as to why she recovered from that so quickly.
But it just reminded me, kind of thinking back to how Clara needlessly overreacted back in Series 8.
Yeah, by when the Doctor trying to throw a key into a volcano.
Yeah.
I know exactly the exact millisecond you're talking about.
Yeah. But
I just put that out of my mind, but
it's probably a good thing to do. No, but yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I did like the fact they did kind of throw in a couple of social issues in there without focusing on it, just a couple of nice nods going on. Because again, Doctor Who isn't the place to have it thrown in your face. You can nod to it, but not in your face about it, so it was nice.
John Pertwee era.
But yeah, overall, I'm going to go with a solid 8 out of 10 for this one.
Cool, alrighty. Harriet Skelly, your thoughts?
Well, I very much like this one. It is very... It's... Yeah, as you were saying, it's very John Pertwee era Doctor Who, which is well documented. We very much enjoyed that era of Doctor Who, so it sells it very well. The whole the points that you guys make about Bill sort of getting over that instant death of that. I'd like to bring that up because the 12th Doctor, he finally goes back to that being really ruthless thing again.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic, to the point where you watch him reach out and grab the Sonic instead of trying to grab that boy. That's gold.
Yeah.
And then the look
very
on his face.
Very Hartnell. Very Hartnell.
It was gold. And then
he was just like, you kid, YOLO, like, whatever. I couldn't save him. I'm not strong enough to pull him out of the ice.
Exactly. So, and then Bill's like, how many people have you killed? And just like, I'm just imagining just like this montage someone has to edit in to that point where like does a bunch of flashbacks to the many times the Doctor's killed somebody. I really want that to be.
I know the exact YouTube video that I want to edit that into.
Yeah, but not that one because it doesn't need the music.
Yeah, I'll just put some Murray Gold over it.
Have you guys ever seen that cupcake the cupcake dog in the war gif? Where he's like, you have to Google it anyway. It's like flashbacks like the Vietnam War, and this dog's like just zoned out in front of some cupcakes. It's hilarious. I could see them doing that with the Doctor Who. I could see that exact scene happening where he's just like every single murder and then the mother trucker die video.
Yeah. The die, mother trucker die, definitely.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, so, yeah, there's that. The poignant, on the nose talking about, black people in England before they were freed as slaves. So it's interesting that they bring that up, and then they point out the fact that yes, absolutely, London was full of people of color, and it's not a big deal. Like, they weren't like only the very rich ever cared about that at all.
Yeah.
Everyone else just
it wasn't as problematic as it was in the United States.
Yeah, and it's just that history has, as the Doctor said, history is a whitewash, which is
neither is Jesus.
Very on the nose. So good. So yeah, there's that. just the whole, the story plays out very well with the Doctor figuring out things. It is a very second and third Doctor story where they partially do like this investigative story stage, and then they go into this fight, basically this fight scene at the end where the Doctor is trying to do some crazy stuff, and it sells that very well. The motives of the bad guy did seem kind of like pulled out of a folder sort of bad guy, the list of things that bad guys could want to do, where he's all about the money, done, easy, like there's no big thing there. But that's the thing, is that old Doctor Who used to do that all the time.
Yeah, especially the Sunmakers.
It was where it was extremely cliche for a very cliche bad guy. And that's the thing, is that it wasn't so much cliche in the way that he just wanted money or was just doing this because he was a bad guy. He had a specific reason to use these elements to get what he wanted. And it wasn't just that he wanted money, it was also that he did not give any crap to any thought to anybody else in his life. He was completely basically psychotic. And what's the word? Not psychopathic? Is it? No, I think it's sociopathic.
Sociopath.
The one, not necessarily sociopath, because he doesn't even really like pretend. But it is the psychopath one where he actually doesn't feel anything, like at all, about anybody else. A complete lack of empathy, which is so he sells it very well, and that's the sort of bad guy that's better in Doctor Who, a human that's crazy, less than an alien that just wants to kill us.
Yeah, I really like that he brought up the fact he was human.
Yeah, the fact that he was
make money.
So it makes sense, but I can understand that it seems a little cliche. But in the time where most of the television shows we have these days are all just cliche, I'm kind of glad that it was only that particular part that was. Most of this otherwise was not. I'm just glad that they did this the nice thing, and they were in old time London. They could have easily have done what most other cliche shows do whenever they're in this time period, is do Jack the Ripper for no good reason. So,
thankfully they're a couple of decades before him, which is good.
Exactly.
Which is really good.
So, Phil is no streetwalker, so I think we're okay there.
She probably would have been okay, but still, it's that kind of thing. So I liked that whole storyline. That's still going fantastically. But as soon as they get back to the future, there's that point where Nado starts being a mother again, which really annoys me that this character has become that all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's completely different to episode 1 of the season. Yeah,
that's just pulled. That's completely pulled away from. But that was, that's just from last episode carrying on to this one, basically. So that's not really the fault of this episode. And the vault again.
Yeah.
Why do we need to see the vault? It's not necessary. And the knocking as well. I'm so glad they didn't do like the 4 knocks.
4 knocks, it was 3. It was 3.
I'm so glad that it wasn't that. But at the same time, I'm just like, please, just don't show us this. We don't need to know. Like, it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, all you could have simply done, if you really wanted to get the messages across, is just have him walking away from it and just 2 knocks, or 3 knocks, whatever it was. And then just cut it. You need to have that whole conversation with, why are you knocking? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. We don't know what's behind it. So, why do we need to know that he's having a conversation with it?
The whole thing is just unnecessary, because we know that there's a vault there. We know it's going to play some importance later on down the track. But showing us it every single episode is just making it seem like we have a short-term memory loss.
Yeah.
Like we're not remembering last episode. It's like it's almost as bad as having the entire episode, or the previous episode, summed up in a last time on Doctor Who. They don't do a last time on Doctor Who, so they know that we don't need that. So why are they putting it into the episode?
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that everybody's had a positive reaction to this, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do like that Bill's like, hey, I'm black and I'm in the past, and the Doctor's like, do you know that much about your own history? Not America's history, your own? Because England was very much for the abolishment of slavery in the 19th century. A lot of Parliament was pushing for that, because they were like, no one really owns slaves anyway, and it's kind of not cool. And it's a pity that America had to fight a war for that to stop, whereas England just decided to stop doing it. And and
Of course.
yeah, exactly. I like that the Doctor references 2 with the coin trick.
Yeah.
Because the 2's very well, like, especially in the 3 Doctors when he does that coin toss and like both sides are heads. So good. And the Doctor's like, show me how you did that. Like, actually, come on, show me. When he steals those pies, that was really good. I love that Bill eats a pie, right, of a fish. That's like an alien fish. I love that. Like, when she finds out, she's like, I ate an alien fish. Yuck. No,
Like-
that's yuck.
That's the question. Is it an alien fish, or is it a fish that is with that prehistoric creature?
Yeah, well, no, it is. They evolved alongside each other. The Doctor talks about it when they're before they go underneath. Is that these fish have actually? Oh no, when they come out of being in the ice, that the fish have evolved to help this particular fish, because it's been there for ages. That fish, because it's been in the businessman's family for hundreds of years, probably maybe even Dark Ages. So it's been in his family. And the use of the psychic paper is my favorite use of it when he's with the foreman. That is absolutely my favorite use of the psychic paper in the entirety of New Who. That conversation is so great, because the Doctor gets that guy to out all the crimes by himself. It's so good, and like the writing of that was superb. Sarah Dollard knocked it out of the park, and it proved to me that the only reason her Diagon Alley episode didn't work is because she was having to write Stephen Moffat's finale, and so she's been
having to write in that Clara was going to die.
Yeah, exactly, and so she's been forced to write something that she's probably not familiar with. And it's unfair to her, and we see here that her writing's actually brilliant, and her dialogue, her character interactions. I love how she's treated the Doctor's past as well. Like, her understanding, I think she must have a great understanding of Classic Who, to be honest, because like that conversation is definitely references to because the Doctor did some not okay things in Classic Who, as Harriet Scully and I have come to become most acquainted with.
Neck snapping.
Yeah, neck snapping. It's like in Meglos. I forgot to bring that up in our Meglos episode. He actually snaps a guard's neck actually to death in that episode. Mm-hmm. Which I'm surprised is still not in one of those YouTube compilations. But so the Doctor is, and I love that how it's treated, because the Doctor's like, you need to understand, sometimes bad people need to die. Right, they just do, because they're bad and they won't stop being bad, and they'll make it worse for good people. So, and he plays that out later in the story, because he leaves the sonic screwdriver on purpose next to the dynamite so that the fish will kill the businessman. He does it on purpose. Yep. He on purpose kills this man. And I'm just like, that's Classic Who. And this is the Doctor we were given in Deep Breath. How has it taken 3 whole seasons to get that Doctor back? I'm so confused. In Deep Breath, they were like, hey, this is the Doctor. And then they got rid of it and did Robots of Sherwood. And I'm just like, no, you've forgotten your own character 2 episodes in. I mean, what? And it's just, it's frustrating, because seeing the Doctor be very Hartnell era, which is how the Doctor was in Deep Breath, having him play out like this with the masterful writing and even the directing in this is, I'm just flabbergasted how he hasn't been this Doctor the whole time. If he has, I feel we would be very lenient in series 8 and 9. I'm just, I'm happy that this turned out as well as it did, because it's definitely redeemed Sarah Dollard. Unfortunately, Frank Boytrell still sucks, but Sarah Dollard's been redeemed here. And I'm very much looking forward to the next episode. I feel they handled the racism of the time very well. They didn't whack you over the head. They didn't say, they didn't have an agenda behind it. They were just saying, hey, this is something that this man in particular feels. Nobody else in London seems to care. It's just this one guy who's not very nice anyway. And we know more about him throughout the story, that he's just not a good person. I also love the complete 180 the Doctor does. He goes, I need you to stay calm. What do you mean? I need you to stay calm. We need to do this charmingly. We need to be tactful. And as soon as that man opens his mouth, the Doctor knocks him out. And I love that, because it's like, it's a complete juxtaposition of what he's just said. And that's good character writing. And and I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, in my opinion, this is the best story we've had so far this season. It's...
Yep. We're only 3 in. Come on.
Yeah, I know. So far, I feel that this is the probably. I think for me, I felt as much as I loved Heaven Sent. I think this probably beats that. But Heaven Sent was a great character piece.
Hellbent?
But do I? I thought Hellbent was the last.
Was the character. Hellbent was the character piece.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Hellbent, Heaven Sent. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, I thought they were the other way around. So I do mean Hellbent, sorry. Hellbent was a great character piece, but I think for me this... Maybe it's even tie, I suppose, because it shows the 12th Doctor being written well with other characters. He's not flying solo. He's doing really well. And I just, Bill is a great companion. She's very much growing on me. She's probably going to, if the way she's written keeps getting better as it has been, I think she might be a contender to beat Donna for me, because I love Donna, but I think Bill's growing on me, and she's growing on me rapidly.
I already like her more than Clara.
I like a fart more than Clara.
It's a bit hard to beat that.
Yeah,
it's not
oh my god, Clara's like the best companion ever. I've actually seen that on a Tumblr post. That's a real thing I've seen.
Really?
Yeah. I've actually seen that. So yeah, I think overall, the story is great because we've got an almost pure historical. Sarah Dollard's proven that it can work. She's proven it can work. We don't need robots in Sherwood. I'm calm. I'm calm. The Doctor wanting to stop the production of the animals' feces for power, I completely understand, because this thing's essentially, by the way it's been described, it's going to be more important and more useful than nuclear power. And this is before the Industrial Revolution starts. It would destroy Earth's timeline and might even cause things to... Oh, sorry, you were saying, Harry Scully?
Yeah. Providing a more suitable energy source to the Industrial Revolution would have exponentially created... Yeah, it would have done some terrible things.
Yeah. It would have been not good. And
it would have also turned that guy into the most billionaire of all time.
Yeah.
Because he would have had the monopoly on that.
Yeah. Which,
We have fuel that burns 1,000 times hotter than coal and
can burn underwater.
It's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's like it's gonna happen with this big stockpile of his fuel.
Yeah.
Here is it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I never even thought about that.
Because
the fuel will still exist.
Huge crates of it. Do they just sell it off? But do you think someone might have kept a bit?
Oh.
There's water all over the vault. Maybe it's foreshadowing it. Oh, look, there's some giant dino poop that you've held for so many years. Gonna burn underwater now. Why do they give that piece of information? It added nothing to the story whatsoever. It was never mentioned again. He didn't even have the barrels underwater. It was just, hey.
It did add to the story because the Doctor and Bill come to an understanding that he's got a power source that's completely more potent than anything they've got at the time. It does add to the plot, especially because it's 1814. The Industrial Revolution hasn't started yet. George Jefferson's still figuring out how to create the engine. So if this is here and George Jefferson gets this poo, it would completely destroy history. It would Like it would be.
At least we wouldn't use coal anymore, though.
Yeah.
I mean, or oil. We
Yeah.
would just use this fish.
So the Great Smog
It's
would
still
never
kind of
happen.
brutal.
Does it need to eat humans? Like, is it particularly hungry for humans?
I think it just.
Because if you could
Yeah.
if you get it in the right habitat and like treat it nicely, and then
Yeah.
because it's just like we're like actually just cleaning up after it. So that would
Literally.
be pretty cool if we were actually nice people to it. And
Yeah.
not
But well, I mean, we wouldn't have had the facilities for it, though. You know, we didn't have like
not at all.
aquariums.
It's as big as the Thames. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, where would we store it? So yeah, I don't know. I understand the businessman stance. I understand why the Doctor wants to stop it. I love the no shh transition. That was so great. It could burn underwater, and Bill's just like no shh. It's the same just scene. So good. I was like, that was perfect editing. I love that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I think this is a solid story. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really hope this coming episode's going to be as good.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah,
The short. You know what? The shorts can't really tell you because I thought this episode was going to be pretty average, but look, here it is.
Yeah.
It was good.
In regards to this coming story, it has 5.1 surround sound. So if you've got headphones that support that, I would thoroughly suggest watching the story in that, because apparently they used the 5.1 surround sound to put in the monster noises so that you can sense where the monster's coming on up on the character.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, the sound is going to be
Sweet.
designed in a way that when one of the characters is alone, it will be mapped to that character's ears.
Ooh.
So you will hear as if you were the characters where the noise is coming from. I was just like, this is going to be great.
Just keep this quality for like another
Yeah, for the rest of
Good
New
old-
Who.
season. Yeah,
The rest of New Who, please.
Yeah, hashtag please. Alrighty, well, with that,
You can do a couple of duds in there, but
Yeah.
just the rest of New Who.
the rest of New Who. But with that, Brian's, thank you very much for joining us this week.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, and you have yourself a good weekend there, Brian's. Cool. Alrighty. Well, with that out of the way, and what a really brilliant story that was, we move on to the Keeper of Traken, or the unfortunate mishaps of Tremas.
Or the first story in the Master Trilogy.
Yeah. Well, yes. The first story in the Master Trilogy. So, Harriet Skelly, synopses.
Okay, so good old Doctor and Edric now, without Romana. We've got some crazy stuff going on, basically. So there is a planet out in the galaxy somewhere called Traken, and it is an advanced society, and apparently has effectively a natural ability to stop evil from existing. And it makes everyone nice that lands, and anyone who's too evil to exist on that planet just gets turned to stone, basically, it seems to be. So, yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, the Doctor and Edric are flying towards this planet for some reason. They're not really too sure why. And then good old the Keeper of Traken shows up and is like, hey, I'm old. Things could be going pretty badly for Traken right now. I'm going to need you guys to help me out. And the Doctor, being the Doctor, is like, yeah, sure. I'll help you out. That's cool. So they go there. They should have really maybe not have gone right on top of where that statue was. They should have probably landed closer to like the central chamber so they can immediately show themselves. But, the Doctor's always going to do something like that. That's like, come on. So yeah, basically there ends up with because if they do that, there ends up being a massive string of what's the word? Misinterpretations going on.
Yeah.
Where they think that the Doctor and Edric are bad guys. The Doctor says, hey, I landed with the ship. Just go and find the ship. The ship gets lasered away by some eye laser beams. because the story is full of eye laser beams.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. And then they get attempted to be imprisoned, but then Future Master, because that's actually the only way that I can think of this guy. As soon as I see him, I'm like, that's going to be the Master of the future. I can't get that out of my head.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get away from that. That's the only like downfall of watching this episode after the fact. If I'd been watching this in the beginning, I wouldn't have even thought about it, that this guy is going to be the Master. But it's just his face does not change enough with the makeup.
Yeah.
And the laid on hair, so you instantly know that it's the Master. Yeah.
Good old Anthony Ainley, yeah.
Yeah, he's perfect. He's also got the perfect face shape for being the Master. Like he's got it. Like
Yeah.
no other actor has ever pulled it off. It could have ever pulled it off other than Anthony Ainley and original.
Roger Delgado.
There's that one. Roger Delgado and Anthony Ainley are the only Masters that pull it off facial wise, and like just the actors are the only ones that like suit perfectly. I mean, there's other Masters that work, that can kind of do things, but they pull off their own version of the Master. But the Master, as we know and love, is only in Anthony Ainley and Roger Delgado. So, yeah. Anyway, so we follow on with meeting them, the council of the Traken, and the Keeper basically getting attacked whilst trying to confirm that the Master and Edric are not bad guys. So they get basically confirmed as being not good guys. That's, yeah. Doctor really kind of ends up in a lot of messes in this. Which seems to be the deal with Master episodes, is the Doctor just like constantly, but things get worse and worse and worse for him because the Master is such a great adversary of his, and then right at the end he manages to get his way out of it, like by this long string of events and effectively coincidences and people who are nice to him is the only way that he ever really gets out of anything the Master ever does, which is. It's something that's lost more recently in the Master's episodes. Yeah. Is that the Master never seems to really quite outwit the Doctor anymore, which I guess after the war kind of makes sense, but it's still a lost part of the episode. And if that's not in it. So, and I guess they don't have as much time these days to do that. So, but yeah. So it follows on like that. The Doctor getting into more and more trouble as we go along. The Master taking control of Nissa's stepmother. Yeah, it's not actually.
It's his stepmother. Yeah.
Yeah. And using her to try and get. Well, basically, he does end up becoming the Keeper of Traken. But luckily, through this odd string of events, the Doctor manages to destroy the source, stopping the Master from getting ultimate power. Then the Master lands his clock TARDIS in Nissa's dad's room and possesses him. Yeah. And in all the glory that he becomes as the Anthony Ainley Master.
Anthony Ainley Master.
I am the Master. You will obey me. Which is unfortunately not something he says in this episode. Which is because there was a perfect point for him to say it when she was like putting the collar on. But I guess they were also trying to at the same time they were trying to not let the audience know completely for a while that it was the Master. But everyone knew. Come on, they totally knew as soon as it happened. They were like, yeah, that's the Master, totally. So yeah, it's a good episode. This one story. It. As always, the Master is fantastic. The Doctor and the Master dynamic is the pinnacle of protagonist antagonist story writing. It really is, and there's not going to be anything else like it, honestly. and we're finally meet up with Nissa, who's, almost, or I guess is more intelligent than Edric, at least in some respects.
Yeah.
And Edric, of course, still around. He's not as annoying as he has been, but he's still,
I don't get it.
Still
He
like
doesn't annoy me.
It's just that it's the arrogant teenageness. It's not nice. So yeah, that's the story. It's a good time. I would highly recommend watching this one. I'd probably say that this is one of the ones that you really need to watch. Like, there's plenty of old Who episodes that can just sort of, you don't have to watch them. They don't have a lot of story elements to them. But this is one of the ones that really does. Just the fact that how the Master gets from being that burn victim to being Anthony Ainley's Master is something really important. Yeah.
The Late Crow. Thoughts on the Keeper of Traken?
Yep, I echo everything that Harriet Skelly just said. A lovely story. I think all classic Master stories are just awesome. I wish that we could say the same for New Who, but we know that not to be the case.
Here come the drums, here come the drums, maybe, baby, baby. Oh my god, I hate you, Russell T Davies. Anyway, sorry. I had a Russell T Davies stuck in me just then.
Your anger is justified. No, but it's a lovely episode. Do we know that one thing that I found curious, I didn't dislike, I just found curious, the Melka, when it first appears, obviously we find out that it's the Master's TARDIS. Was it in the form of a statue when it first got there? So, I just want to know.
I think what happened is his TARDIS appeared there as the statue because there were other Melkor that had landed on that become statue.
Okay.
So as the TARDIS as it has a working chameleon circuit, it was able to turn into that for that very reason.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Thank you for clarifying that.
Actually, something I want to really bring up, but just before you continue on there, that means that he was smaller inside of. Well, he wasn't necessarily smaller because the TARDIS is bigger on the inside, but he was controlling effectively a human-sized mechazoid.
Yeah.
That's a TARDIS.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a real thing he did.
I love the really kind of classic Who style laser eyes. Just there we go, all out for the laser eyes on this episode. It's just, I know it's kind of, don't want to say cheesy, but it's kind of
80s.
good.
It's solid. That's great.
It's beautiful. And they just, every time someone needs to die, out come the laser eyes. It's beautiful. And just the very 80s classic Doctor Who props, like the band that the Malcolm Master gives. What's her face? Hold on, let me remind myself. Cassia, that's right. I'm just looking at it going, do they use cardboard for that? Do they use cardboard? I think they use cardboard for that prop.
For the Malka?
Absolutely.
Oh no, for the band that they give to Cassia. But again, that's kind of
go red. It's actually they've just painted up the top of her eyelids.
Yeah, I know. That's so good. She was like, I am not wearing those contacts, but nah, I'm not doing it. Oh, okay.
We'll just paint your eyes then. Paint over your eyes, it'll do.
Well, it's just, I'm happy that they did that instead of the way that they would used to edit the eyes, where they just put like flashing lights over the top of them instead. Yeah, it's way better than that.
Just want to talk about the Master really quickly. I mean, I love Anthony Ainley. He's probably my favourite Master. But I think we have to give shout to Jeffrey Beaver's performance as well.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
I love his voice. The Doctor. Because he's come back to reprise the Master for the Big Finish's 2 Master trilogy with the War Master.
I love the really not cliffhanger ways, but almost cliffhanger ways each part of the story ends. Like, especially the way part 2 ends with the Masters going, "Oh no, Cassia, it's only the beginning." End credits.
In credits.
But yeah, I love this episode to bits. Love Anthony Ainley Master. Love Classic Who. Tom Baker's smile's infectious. I just so good. Over to you.
Right. Okay. The Keeper of Traken. I echo what everybody's been saying. It's a great story. It's a great Master story. The Master's back. He's got a less degraded body because, as we know, he's in his final incarnation. We can see here that Rassilon Star did heal him a bit. He's healed quite a lot from Rassilon Star and the Deadly Assassin. And the Deadly Assassin was like
to not instantly do.
Yeah, it wouldn't have instantly done it, but it's healed him a bit. It's been 6 seasons since we last saw the Master, and I think that's crazy. Because Doctor Who couldn't really pull it off this time round, you know. Like, there's no way. Doctor Who's like, we need to have these people frequently. It's
three Dalek episodes.
Yeah. Oh my god. Right. Anthony Ainley is the Master for as long as Derek Jacobi is the Master in the story.
Yep.
And I thought that was quite cool. I think that's cool. I do bang on Here Come the Drums Davies quite a bit. But sometimes he does do nods to Who that were quite good. And I like that it parallels Anthony Ainley's time spent as the Master in the story. I really wish Derek Jacobi was the Master for the whole time. But... beggars can't be choosers. I agree with Harry Scully as well. It was hard. It's hard to see Anthony Ainley as Tremas when you know him so well as the Master. But
it's only because we're watching it in the future.
Yeah.
If we were watching it right then, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Exactly. Though I love Anthony Ainley's portrayal as Tremas. He's a real kindly father. And he's just like, he's a very polite individual, and I like that. It's because it's something that will, I don't think I've seen Anthony Ainley do a role like that, because the one of the first moments I remember of seeing of Anthony Ainley before I got into Who actually was a rerun of a show called Upstairs Downstairs, and he appears in a couple of episodes in that, and he's a jerk. And then, I see him in Doctor Who, and I was like, "Oh, is that a thing that he just did?" But no. This episode shows I was wrong. He did play as as polite, nice people, and it's really cool seeing this other side of Anthony Ainley, especially since he's come to be well known within the Who community as the Master. I love the design of the Malka, that sort of abstract art look. I thought it was quite cool. It's better than just having someone look like a statue, if you know what I mean. It was sort of like an artistic approach to the statue. I like the fact that the Keeper of Traken actually has this ability to break into the TARDIS. And it's good that he's not malicious, because if he was, that would be not good news for Time Lords. To have a being that can break into TARDISes.
Well, luckily he is a nice person.
Yeah. Tom Baker says this joke, and I can't remember what it is, but he says something like, "It's not my type, 40." He says it like that. I can't.
Or something like that.
That's so good, and I was like, I wish I remembered what he said. But this is a great setup for how the Master will be for the rest of Classic Who, because as we know, Anthony Ainley is the Master for the rest of Classic Who, and for a video game. Which actually there is a fan edit of The Enemy Within / the 1996 Doctor Who movie, in which those scenes are actually put into the beginning of the Doctor Who movie, and explain why he's arrested by the Daleks, because at the end he is actually arrested by the Daleks in the video game. And I was like, oh my god.
I need to see this.
Yeah, it's called Destiny of the Doctor, and not to be confused with Destiny of the Doctor, the book series.
Or any other Destiny
of the Doctor. And it's just Anthony Ainley encapsulates the Doctor, and the Doctor isn't... not the Doctor. The Master isn't insane.
No.
And that's why I still like... As much as I love John Sims as a performer, I still don't like the Master that Russell T Davies gave him. And I'm hoping when he comes back for this, because in this season of Doctor Who, he's coming back, this is going to be post the destruction of the 4-knock drum beat wave. So are we going to be seeing a John Sim that's like closer to Delgado? That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, going by the one frame we saw of him in the season trailer, I believe he had a bit of facial hair on him.
Oh,
so
yes,
it's definitely time has passed, I think, from
they were like,
when we saw him last.
They're like, hey, can we stop you from being like an over-the-top corny bad guy and just make it cool? Because John Sims deserves that. I mean, if you've seen Life on Mars, he's incredible in that. And I'm just like...
I love Life on Mars.
He's an incredible actor.
Yeah, and I'm just like, Russell T, what did you do? So I'm hoping Moffat gives him a bit more to chew on. But yeah, I suppose that is us. Is there anything anybody wants to add before we close up part A for this week? Harry Scully, what about yourself?
No, that sums it up. I'm hoping that when we finally see the Master again in New Who, we get something close to this.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward a lot to the rest of the Master trilogy.
Yeah. Castrovalva's in this trilogy, so I wonder if you're going to still be looking forward to it. Yeah, so we will see you on part B. Catch you all later.